Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast where I would like to explore with you what it means to be strategic in HR. So, my name is Martin Jessen, and I work with organizations to help them on their transformations and people strategies. And I also coach HR leaders and HR business partners on developing their strategic capabilities. Okay. First of all, I apologize for my choice of location here. I'm sitting in the garage because my whole family is on Zoom and it's getting very loud, and this was really the only place where it was reasonably quiet. I'm about to launch my own business, and obviously the garage is the fantastic place to get started on that. But I will share a little bit more about that at the end of this podcast. Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who has contributed to this piece of work, HR leaders and experts from around the world who have had so many fantastic inputs and thoughts on what it means to be strategic in HR, and I'm really grateful, and I hope that I'm able to really bring everybody's input across in this little model that I'm going to present. So I'd like to present what it means to be strategic in HR, and there are basically 6 muscles that the strategic HR person is using. And I like that expression muscle because it allowed me to look at both skills, hard techniques, competencies, habits, behaviors, mindset, and also the word muscle indicates that it's something that you can develop. So let's go right through in there and look at each muscle. So the first muscle is the feel muscle. Which is really about one dimension of emotional intelligence, your self-awareness, okay? Your self-awareness about your values, your styles, how you handle emotions, okay? For example, one thing that came out of the interviews was that strategic HR people influence and shape decisions, and you have to kind of be in sync with those decisions from the perspective of your own values and your own beliefs, because you will be accountable for those decisions. You have to own up for those decisions. There are lots of other interesting inputs on the feel muscle, but maybe I can share that in another podcast. Let me go to the next muscle. So here we have the engage muscle, which is really the other dimension of emotional intelligence. It's your awareness towards others, trying to understand and putting yourself into the shoes of other people, having empathy, navigating stakeholders, influencing and challenging. Okay. What came out in the interviews, for example, is it's really about how you show up at the table of where the strategic conversation is held, how you establish and build trust with the people around that table, and the trust that you can contribute, that you have some assets that you're bringing to the table, that you carry the solutions and the decisions that are made, that you are accountable. Then we have the sense muscle, which is about capturing signals. And for example, capturing signals inside the organization, which is about kind of developing your business acumen, really understanding the business problems that the business are facing, listening to feedbacks, looking at data. Okay, but it's also about capturing signals on the outside, okay, following trends, maybe talking to customers, looking at what's happening with the competition, but also following the trends in the field of HR, what's the hot stuff that is happening, what is happening in the talent market that you're playing in. Okay. Again, something that came out of the interviews is that the strategic HR person is really expanding their curiosity to beyond just the function that they're covering, to really get new impulses, new ideas to how to solve complex problems. In the think muscle, you're then putting an order to all those different signals that you're capturing, okay? So you are asking the right questions, you are analyzing data, you're connecting the dots in the system, you are making a diagnosis of the problem, and you're trying to get to the root causes of that problem. Okay, you're also trying to predict behaviors and outcomes, and basically you're bringing it all together and putting it into insights that you can bring back to the table where the strategic conversation is held. Okay, and one interesting thing that again came out in the discussions is that the strategic HR person is also able to spot weaknesses in an argument, who can say, okay, the data that is presented here is actually misinterpreted. In the create muscle, you then take the diagnosis from your thinking, the insights, and you shape a solution, you design a solution for the business problem that you have identified. This is the place where you're bringing people together, experts, different functions, to really co-design those solutions. You try and create a safe space for creativity to really solve the toughest problem that you're facing. Okay. Not surprisingly, design thinking came up as an important topic, and just as an example, there needs to be a strong focus on the end users of the solution, and perhaps you invite the end users to co-design the solutions that you're coming up with. Last but not least, there is the deliver muscle, which is all about execution. You are pushing for decisions, you're creating a plan, you're mobilizing players, you ensure follow-up, you enable transparency, and you ask for feedback on the solutions that you're trying to implement. The big challenge for the strategic HR person here is then to navigate the barriers, overcome resistance, perhaps dealing with politics. In the end, the deliver muscle is really about showing that you are able to produce results. You're really able to solve the business problems that you have set out to work on. Okay? So I hope this gives you a good overview of those 6 different muscles. One final point on those muscles, what is really interesting is to see how those muscles actually work together. So for example, if you have a business leader who insists on a solution and you are kind of sensing that that solution is going in the wrong way, you then engage with the business leader in a very empathetic way to say, hey, I think we need to do more analysis to really understand the business problem before we are jumping to that solution. So let us collect more data to make sure that we are really heading for the right solution here. So this is how you can see how those muscles are kind of coming together. So look, I am really convinced that HR is able to play a very important role in the strategic space of organizations, okay? You may have heard about that study that 70% of all major transformations are failing, and that the root causes very often are about the lack of skills and capabilities. It's about culture, it's about lack of change management. So those are all topics where we as HR can really play an influencing role to get it to steer transformations in the right directions. I really enjoyed studying this aspect, okay, and throughout my career I tried to nurture my own strategic muscles, and I'm still developing in this space. But I have really decided to build a little business around this, where I'm offering individual coaching on developing strategic HR muscles, and I'm also working on building a learning experience And here's my call for action. I'm very close to having a prototype ready for that learning experience. So if you know anyone, or if you yourself are interested to work on your strategic muscles, please let me know and get in touch with me, and I would love to have you part of my prototype. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.